Yeah. Oh, hi, was that?
So, we're playing the Redskins on Sunday, right?
That's right.
And we're playing the Cardinals on Thursday, right?
Right.
And you record the show on Friday.
Right.
So, does this mean...
It's a double episode? Ah! Ah!
And now, it's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. A show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mozette, and here's your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Mozette, and welcome to a special double episode 517 of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show as the Seahawks get ready to take on the Redskins and the Cardinals. But remember, sometimes it's okay to double dip. Let's meet the posse for this episode. First from merry old England, the yin to my yang. He will double your pleasure, double your fun. It's Matt. Hi, Matt.
Oh, double your invoice charge as well. Hello, Moses. How are you?
What's new over in England, Matt?
Oh, well, if I'm playing, I'm paying. No. I brought some cream with me for my humble pie. I'm ready for the necessary eating of said humble pie that I'm going to be doing this episode. I'm sure. I'm all ready to go on that.
I think so. I think there'll be some humble pie eaten.
I like a bit of pie.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Also, from the state of Washington, our news hound that doubles our football knowledge. We know him as Will. Hi, Will.
Hey, Moses. How are you?
Wonderful. How are you doing, sir?
Well, still recovering from that game on Sunday. That was
Wow.
interesting.
It was crazy. Unbelievable. Crazy game. And also from the posse from the state of Washington, his double could be a leprechaun. And that is Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
I'm not sure exactly what that means, but hello.
If you ever need a stunt double, we got you covered, man.
Oh, gotcha. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, because, you're very famous. You might be in the movie someday.
Well, it's possible. You never know.
Yeah, it is. It is. Now, before we get into all the show and the apologizing for my favorite player and everything, I think last week it was brought up that if you have not noticed the Techno Thursdays that the Seahawks have, and we record this show on Friday nights if you didn't know or if you even cared.
Didn't
And
care,
so it is Friday evening, and Matt had made a suggestion. Matt, what was your suggestion?
Actually, I can't remember. What was my suggestion?
That was actually me.
Was it Will?
Thank goodness.
Will, what was your suggestion, Will?
Well, if they're doing Techno Thursday, we need to do Funk Friday.
Funky
right.
Friday, baby! Welcome to Funky Friday! Play
So
that
pleased you said
funky
that.
music, white boy!
So pleased you said that, Will. I thought I was having Einstein's dementia setting in.
Well, one does not preclude the other, but yeah.
Oh, man.
Funky.
Yeah, a little wild cherry for you there. A little Funky Friday. Welcome to Funky Friday, and welcome to Michael Bolton. Michael Bolton!
Boys, let's get to it.
Yes, let's get to this. We got a show run just like a real NFL football game. 4 quarters and a halftime. Quarter one, we're going to talk about that amazing game last week, the Seahawks, the Texans. At quarter two, we are going to go over the Redskins info for this coming Sunday game between your Seattle Seahawks and the Washington Redskins. At halftime, it's the best Seahawk-themed play-along game on the internet. 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
Over the world.
Can Matt keep the crown on his head? We'll see.
Let me keep it.
We'll see. We'll see.
That's not a thing.
200 years and still butchering our language. It's disgraceful.
I know. I'll go to Lulu later. Quarter three, we will talk about the Thursday night Cardinals game because obviously we have two games to talk about before we record again next Friday, and so we'll talk about the Cardinals as much as we can. And then quarter four, we'll make our predictions, prognostication, game balls for the Redskins game and the Cardinals game. Before we start, please like, share, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Look for us up on Facebook, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We have a lot of fun on our webpage. We do a game day thread. It's a lot of fun. And there's our email, and there's our Twitter. But let's go ahead and start with the first quarter.
Holy shit, it's the first quarter.
Yes, the first quarter, and it's time to look back at that amazing, I don't know how you describe that game from Sunday, where our Seattle Seahawks outgunned the Houston Texans 41-38. I don't even know where to start. Will, you were at the game. So I guess we can start with you on this. Your thoughts, feelings after seeing that amazing game?
Well, even in the middle of it, when I was bitching about Houston scoring so much, it was pretty apparent that this was going to be something special. And boy, was it. I mean, Russell Wilson technically accounted for more yards than the team as a whole, which is pretty astounding. And Deshaun Watson, I was just sick at the word of his injury this week, because that kid is already something special and is going to be for a very long time. And there are so many things going on in that game, but just to see two such great quarterbacks duel it out like that, you don't get a chance to see that often, and it was pretty special. And I don't want to hear anybody tell me again how Russell Wilson only wins games because of his defense or because of the running game or because moonbeams or Twinkies help him win it. I don't care. I mean, you cannot look at that game and come away without thinking that Russell Wilson is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and that's
quite simply worth every penny. And I think we all said that when his contract came up. I don't care if it's $50 million a year; he's worth every penny. Matt, your thoughts from England?
Oh, there's so many superlatives I could use to describe this game, but I'm not going to. I mean, it's the game we all needed. That's the way that I'm thinking about it, that I needed this game. This season is going to be remembered for a host of different things, for protests, for, whatever, for owners and all that sort of nonsense. But actually, when we get back to remembering what football is all about, that game we watched on Sunday is what football is all about. It's about two competitive teams not giving up, to the very last dying second in order to win a football game, and just it was superb. And it was also a good reminder for all our Seahawks fans that we talk a lot about our defense, and we sort of have getting a habit almost of dismissing sometimes our offense and just saying our defense, as Will alluded to, but we have got to remember we have some weapons, and one of them is an incredible quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. Dustin?
That was actually my first game of the year this season, so that was a lot of fun to get out there.
Oh, you were there too. Good.
Yeah, it was a good first one to go to, and it was exciting for everybody except for people that like to watch defense, because there wasn't a lot of that happening.
Or a Seahawk running game, those two things kind of missing. But...
Yeah, no doubt. And the big plays just left and right. I was sitting with some buddies, and they're like, man, one of them said, this feels like two heavyweights just going at it, just blow for blow.
That's what I said.
Okay, so maybe that was you that said that. I knew I was talking to somebody. I was talking to somebody, and they said that. And that's exactly what it felt like. I mean, it really came down to, it felt like, whoever has the ball last in this game, that's who's going to win this game. And ultimately, it did come down to that, since we had that interception at the end. But, man, just seeing that offense finally click was awesome. Obviously, no run blocking for any reason or whatsoever, just no semblance of it. But the pass blocking was good, and Russell had time, and he was just slinging it all over the place. Matter of fact, at one point in the game, when we were watching, we really hadn't noticed the running game being an issue. We're talking and watching all these plays, and we're like, man, this is awesome. We look up, and we had like 3 yards rushing in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
And we're like, oh, man.
I think it was 5 without Russell overall.
Yeah,
3.
I was like, how cool.
It was -1 at one point in the fourth quarter.
It was, yeah. We're like, how cool would it be just making fun of it because it was so low? We're like, what if we have like 2-3 yards rushing, and then we have the ball at the end of the game, we have to take a knee 2 or 3 times and end up with like 0 or -1 rushing yards. We started pulling for that because we just thought it'd be funny.
Oh, God.
There was a game like that back in '79. I think we finished with -7 rushing yards.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, overall, man, that was fun, and I enjoyed watching it. I've watched it a couple times on TV since then, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have, because, there was a guy that caught a couple touchdown passes that, you guys, some of you were kind of giving a hard time over the drops and all, and Matt, and I just wanted to say publicly that, feed the beast, baby. That's all I got to say about Jimmy Graham. So
And I'll tell, as I said, and by the way, all the listeners, we do have a game thread, as we would like to try and remind you. So if you do want to come and join us on the game thread on Facebook, do that.
please.
And as I said, I'm very happy to take my lumps, as we say over here. I'm happy to take my my humble pie. I did give Jimmy Graham an awful lot of criticism, and I'm very pleased that he obviously listened to the show, heard what I had to say, and made some changes.
He heard that I believed him, is what he heard.
I'm pleased that I was able to influence his play a little bit. But I would also say that it would also be nice, Moses, if you didn't give up on the team before the last 2 minutes. You know, just saying. Just saying.
Okay, I didn't say. I won't say I give up. I just.
Oh, I think you're portion blame, weren't you?
Here's what happened. You've seen Anchorman?
I have.
And there's a meme going around with Anchorman, with Ron Burgundy, where he says, I'm not even mad.
Yeah.
Like when they scored, I wasn't even mad. I was just like, you know what? I'm not even mad about this anymore. Like, if we lose this game because they played this way, I'm not even mad about it, And I had gotten to that point with 2 minutes to go, and I'm just like, you know what? This one's on the defense. I'm done. I don't even care anymore. And I turned to my son. I turned to little Mo. I said, okay, minute 49, no timeouts, 80 yards. Let's see it. And, there he goes. Russell Wilson. And,
3 plays, yeah.
And, he asked
and a
me,
false start.
Is this the best you've ever seen? And I'm like, well, not in person, obviously, because I'm not there. But, I'm having a hard time putting it below any game I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of fun games. One that always strikes to mind to me was way back in the 90s when the Seahawks played the Raiders on Sunday night or Thursday night. I think it was Sunday night. And they won 41-3 with John Freese at quarterback. To me, that was always my favorite because just beating the tar out of somebody on national television back then was so cool. But this one, absolutely. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I don't think anybody knows what to say after that game. There were some really, really funny. I want to share real quick some funny Twitters that were tweeted on the social, and they were
on the interwebs.
The interwebs.
On the interwebs. Yes. What did they say, Dad?
Well,
I know.
On the interweb, there were some things that were said, and one of the things was the punter's wife, who I want on the show, Sarah Colonna. If you're listening, please, we really want you on the show. She said, "Just hugged a stranger real hard." Sitting alone, go Hawks. Blair Walsh, who is in Matt's doghouse, which I'm getting him out next, because I love Blair Walsh. Blair Walsh said, "Techno Sundays." And then somebody said, I thought this was great. You remember when they had the mic on Russell and he was mic'd up for the Colts game? Okay, reminder, the Seahawks are 4-0 since Russell dropped an F-bomb. Just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I thought that was pretty clever. So that's some of the stuff that the world is saying about this game.
I don't think anyone had this game down to be that sort of game.
No.
I don't think they did. I think everyone thought this was going to be another defensive, rookie quarterback goes up against a top tier defense, all the same story. Nope. All wrong.
Yeah, how many rookie quarterbacks come into CenturyLink?
Well,
how many veteran quarterbacks come into CenturyLink and do this? I mean, Aaron Rodgers has never done this. Tom Brady has never done this.
I loved the fact that Richard Sherman stood on the that reporter's podium and said, Russell Wilson bailed us out because we dropped it.
Sure, and that's okay. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's
going to happen.
Yeah, watching Watson, we're like, man, this kid, it's like he's too young to know he's not supposed to be doing this. It's like he kept throwing it at Sherman left and right in that first half, and we're like, man, Rodgers doesn't do that. He avoids that dude.
Yep.
And he's making plays, and it's happening. It's like, I tell you what, though, he keeps throwing them up over there, and Sherman's going to get one. Just watch.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it was great. He had no fear. He had no fear of those.
No.
And he should have had. He should have had fear. He certainly should have had fear of Earl Thomas, and he should, and he paid for that too. But he was just that opening throw, that first throw, which, and in the thread, you just see me and Dennis at the same time just go, wow.
I was the whole time going, wow, on both sides. Just wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and he's got a short memory, which you have to have. I mean, he did throw those interceptions. He came right back and threw touchdowns.
And Matt said it best. He's a taller Russell Wilson. I think that before his injury, which we all talk about, he devastating knee injuries out for the rest of the year. 2 days after we play him, but at that point, he's a taller Russell Wilson. That's about it. So anyway, as amazing as that game is, let's go ahead and just look at the Posse Prediction Challenge for now. First on the scores last week, 2 points to Mike for the 3-point Seahawk victory, and a point for his 23-20 score. Prognostications, 3 points to Jose and Dustin for Sherman's INT finally. And I say finally because I know, Dustin, that's been your prognostication for a long time.
Yeah, a few weeks.
Yeah, 3 points to Mike for more than 3 Seahawks sacks. They had 5. 3 points to Mark for more than 4 Seahawks sacks. They had 5. And to me for 3 INTs, which I'm glad for. Game ball, I gave it to a lot of people. I gave it to Graham, so Little Mo and I get a point. I gave it to Wilson, so Mark, Dustin, and Tom I gave it to Thomas. He got a pick 6, so Mike and Matt get a point. The over-under, surprisingly, was over. It was almost over at halftime. A point to Jose, Tom, Mark, and Moses. Individual scores from that game: Mike 7, Statsman Mark 5, Moses 5, Jose 4, Dustin 4, Tom 2, Little Mo 1, Matt 1, and scores after 7 games.
Yeah, notice who wasn't mentioned there.
Scores after 7 games: Mike still leads at 24, Jose at 19, Dustin and Moses at 17, Will at 15, Tom at 12, Matt 11, Statsman Mark at 9, Mark Ty Turn at 7, Little Mo at 4. And the final scores going into these next 2 games: Team 12, 66, Team Posse, 69!
Hell yeah.
69, dudes.
All right, that's the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
Coming up on a special double episode, halftime trivia, Cardinal info. But coming up next, we take a look at this Sunday's game between the Seahawks and the Redskins right after this.
Hi, I'm Rosette, and you're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Welcome to the second quarter of episode 517, special double episode of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. By the way, Techno Thursdays were yesterday. But of course, today, here at the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, we are recording on Friday, and it is a Funky Friday. We want the funk, baby. Little George Clinton. You got to have P-Funk when you're funky. All right. Hey, let's look at the upcoming game between the Redskins and the Seahawks. Can we do that?
We can indeed.
Sure.
Okay. Current line, Seattle by 7. I think it's gone up to 8, but that's okay. The over-under for our purposes is 45.5 points total. Remember, don't ever take anything we say on this show seriously, especially our lines. Let's see how healthy these teams are by turning to our own doctor, Dr. Dustin, with the 12-Man Fan Jam Show injury report. Oh, Dr. Dustin, tell us the news.
Doctor, give me the news.
All right, so first of all, neither team is necessarily healthy per se. We'll start with the Redskins here. They have 4 people already ruled out. That's tight ends Jordan Reed and Niles Paul with a hamstring and concussion injuries respectively there. You got their most consistent defensive player, Matt Ioannidis, or however you say his name. I'm not sure exactly. He hurt his hand. He had to have surgery. He's out. And then one of their offensive guards, Sean Uvau, has a stinger. And I honestly don't know how to say their players' names.
Yeah.
A few of them I'm not sure how to pronounce them.
So if you're a Redskins fan and you're listening to this show, we apologize.
Yeah.
And then there's Kirk Cousins. No.
Yeah, that one's tough too. I'm still trying to sound it out. But they got 2 guys that are doubtful. Ty. His first name is Ty. last name I'm not even going to bother.
Diversion.
Yeah. Nsekhe. That guy.
Smith.
Yes. He's got a core muscle injury, which I'm assuming is his abdomen is what they're talking about. And then their starting center, Spencer Long. He has a couple of knee injuries, I guess, and he's doubtful. Now, if he does not play, they're going to have – they do the started for him last week. He's a rookie 6th-round pick. I guess he played all 59 snaps on offense last week. They potentially are going to have 3 of their starting 5 linemen out. Trent Williams is another one that is potentially out.
Hey, Kurt. 3 of your 5 starting linemen are out. How you feel about that?
You like that? You like that?
You know, actually, I do.
Yes,
Thanks
I
for
do.
asking. I do.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's not bad. And then, like I said, there's 6 other guys also. I'm not going to list them because there's just too many for those guys.
They're just
they
really
have
beat up.
like legitimately have like half their team injured.
Wow.
Yeah. Seahawks, Jokel and Thomas are both out. Jokel, we knew. Thomas is that hurts. Probably not as much as his hamstring, but that hurts. Yeah.
And that's what he said.
Yeah, he came up lame on that last play by Hopkins.
He did,
last week. Yeah. And apparently it hasn't gotten better enough for him to play, so they're saving him for Arizona, it sounds like. We have a bunch of questionable guys, too. Cam Chancellor, he missed a couple practices. He's got a knee injury, but Pete said he's going to play. Bobby Ingram has a hamstring injury. He's questionable. He practiced today for the first time. They're going to check him out tomorrow, see how sore he is, and then he's going to end up being a game-time decision, it sounds like. Sheldon Richardson's also going to be a game-time decision. He has an oblique injury, which, again, I'm sure is the stomach they're talking about. But, he's going to want to get out there and play if these linemen aren't out there, especially. Because that is just like, you got to be foaming at the mouth trying to get out there for that one.
Very true.
Jeremy Lane has a thigh injury. I guess he has a bruise on his thigh. And maybe that contributed to why he didn't pass his physical. Maybe he can't run very well, I guess.
He also has a bruised ego, but we'll talk about that later.
That he does. McAvoy's got a hammy that's injured, so he's questionable. And then CJ Prosize is, surprise, questionable.
Did you see on Twitter, though, that he said he wants to push through that and get on the field? And I had to tweet back, for Christ's sake, don't push too hard, you'll break something.
No doubt. I mean,
that was beautiful.
Well, it's hard to get through that vaginal discharge he's experiencing.
Here we go.
That's his injury this week. So
please send all comments to Dustin Garrett this station.
And that's what we got going on for injuries.
Wow,
the most surprising one was the vaginal discharge, no doubt.
Yeah,
so.
let's keep talking about that.
You want to?
No, I'd rather
no.
Yeah, a lot of people beat up, both sides, but the 3 out of 5 linemen missing from the offensive line for the Redskins, I think it's going to be a big play in the game. But which is too bad because they look like a pretty good team going into the year, and they're just kind of struggling because of injuries, I think. So, all right, well, gosh, now let's take a look at what the weather's going to be for that game by turning to a guy living in Europe. Yes, it's time once again for the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Weather and Fashion Report with Matt from merry old England. Oh, Matt.
It's raining men.
Yes, thank you, Moses. Now, as you'll all know, it was Halloween this week, so I thought what better way to try and predict this week's weather than through the dark and unnatural satanic powers of the occult. That's right, I checked the weather on Fox News. And apparently, it's going to be a wet, drizzly day, with a temperature of around 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees centigrade. But with that northerly wind, it will make it feel closer to freezing. It makes me glad that I'll be in sunny old England, to be honest. But I digress. What to wear this weekend? Well, we have to welcome those fine, honourable men and women from your capital, Washington metropolitan area, the fine District of Columbia, to the Pacific Northwest. So to make them feel at home, we will need to dress like the natives they're familiar with. That's right, this week the best thing to wear under your jerseys will be senator or representative suits and ties, with optional broken election promises. To make it even more authentic, why not get someone else to quietly pay your bar bill for you and just call it campaign funding? As for me,
I'm in.
For me, if I was going to the game, well, there really is only one outfit that I want to wear to celebrate the great American politics. I would go dressed as former Alaskan Governor Sarah Palin. Complete with hockey mum lipstick and a rifle with a long-range scope, so I can see Russia from my house. That being said, it looks like it's going to be perfect Seahawks weather. Moses, back over to you.
Oh, it's a good time. Fantastic. The weather and the fashion report and the injury report. And we'll now go to Will. Will, the Seahawks win this game if what?
The Seahawks win this game if the defense rebounds and the offense doesn't regress.
All right. Dustin, the Seahawks win this game if?
What Will said.
Oh, boo.
I was thinking the same thing. No, honestly, the defense has to come out fired up after last week. What happened to them? So I mean, if the defense has any pride in them whatsoever, and they come out this week and play like Seahawks defense, Seahawks are going to win the game.
All right, Matt. The Seahawks win this game if.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to regress. I think the defense do have to turn up, but I would stress again the penalties. I know I just stressed this last game. I think they were better than the 110 yards and the 15 penalties they gave up the week before.
I think
it was
so.
Eight or nine, but I didn't make my prognostication, so I know it wasn't that good. But I do think that there is again, they need to clean up some of that. I mean, if Eddie's not going to be wearing 76, is going to confuse the hell out of you, Moses.
It is.
I was
Keep
just
me on
thinking
at
that.
76. Now I'm going to be on at 65.
Why is
Yeah,
it
so
Fetty
that's gonna
playing
confuse the
left
hell.
tackle?
Yeah.
No!
Has anyone told the refs? Because they're just going to keep calling that number out of habit. So it's just going to be something they're going to get confused with. I don't know how many penalties it was, but that's what we need to control, I think.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. That trade that happened, because that is going to be a factor in this game. Dwayne Brown is going to play left tackle. It sounds like. Will, what were your thoughts when the Seahawks traded for Dwayne Brown? And obviously, we know the story. They traded for Jeremy Lane, and then Jeremy Lane failed his physical, and then it went to a draft pick. But Will, what were your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting because I was talking with some Texans fans after the game, and they were flat out saying, "Yeah, you guys are going to have Dwayne Brown in a couple of days." So the word was already kind of out that Houston was going to find a way to move Brown. As far as the trade, I was glad that we didn't have to trade Jimmy Graham to get him, because as inconsistent as he's been over this year, you don't want to rob Peter to pay Paul. I mean, obviously we needed help on the offensive line. That was obvious, but you saw in this game, and you've seen it at times earlier in this year too, what Jimmy Graham could do. So I'm glad we didn't have to part with him. But yeah, as far as Brown, yeah, I mean, I was thrilled when the trade was announced, and I think he's going to be great for us. If we can sign him to an extension, a couple years, he's getting up there. But if we can keep him around for a few years, give George Fant somebody to learn under.
Yes.
You just solidified the most important position on the offensive line. You now have two bona fide Pro Bowl caliber offensive linemen in Brown and Justin Britt. So
yes.
We're no longer shortchanging the offensive line. That's for sure.
And I like Pochik, so that whole left side I really like right now all of a sudden. Dustin, your thoughts on the trade?
Oh, well, when it first happened, I was excited because obviously that's a move that needed to be made. And it was just announced that they traded for him. I was waiting to find out who they traded.
Yeah.
And I had assumed that it was Jimmy Graham because they're going to have to free up some cap space. And then when he didn't get traded, I was kind of happy. I remember thinking about Jurassic Park, that whole line, "Clever girl," because whoever did that kept Jimmy Graham, as well as got the left tackle we needed, and then Jeremy Lane was gone. I was like, man, that's some wizardry right there. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So, and he's a dude that's going to help us out. He comes in here with a lot of respect in the locker room, a lot of experience, Pro Bowl caliber tackle, and man, we need that. We need that leadership on the line, and he's a guy that knows how to lead a line. Justin Britt has been all over the line, and he's a good dude, but he said himself, it's not really. He's never been like the vocal leader type of guy, right? So it's good to have somebody in there that can step into that role and has proven for years and years that he can do the job and show people how to be professional as an offensive lineman. And hopefully these guys just feed off of it.
Yeah, he's been all over the line, man. He's seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Matt, excited about the trade?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was, 32-year-old, 3-time Pro Bowler offensive tackle. Yes, please. Yes, please.
I'll take two.
I'll take two,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think the weird thing for me was the first thing that popped into my head was not clever girl. I don't know what Dustin was doing at this time this was going on, but whatever,
I don't want to know.
It's like, okay. The first thing that popped into my head was, okay, well, somebody has just witnessed the fact that Russell Wilson has just delivered all of our offensive yards in this game.
Yeah.
And we actually need to protect him now.
Hey, wait a minute.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll take two. I'll have another one, please.
Well, I agree with all of you. Amazing trade.
Kind of also said to me that the Hawks are all in. They're going for the
Yeah.
Super Bowl this year. I mean, they brought in Richardson for draft picks. Now they're bringing in offensive tackle that they need. It's like they're going for it, and you know that's going to be a huge boost for the team too. Just like confidence-wise, like man, we're here, we're doing this. This is even more likely now, so they're going to be going at it even harder. I think.
So it was clever girl. We're all in, and we're going at it even harder. We know what Dustin was doing when this trade came in.
I like where your head's at.
That wasn't where his head was at.
Well.
Oh my God, we're going at it even harder.
Clever girl.
Nice. Well, again,
You can
Twitter,
do it.
the social media was a lot of fun when this happened, and my favorite was probably from Justin Brenham 12. Justin,
Bruce Turbin sprint.
Justin, just hours after the trade, tweeted to Dwayne Brown, "What's up, bro? O-line dinner Thursday. It's your turn to pay." So I thought that was awesome.
That was pretty good.
And then someone else retweeted the deal and said, and just like that, Russell Wilson saves 15% on car insurance, which I thought was another good one too. So, yeah, it was a wonderful trade. It was a wonderful game. We got the Redskins coming up. We have the Cardinals coming up Thursday. But before we do all that, it's time for halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
Oh, so much more show left in this double episode. The Seahawks win Sunday. Will they beat the Cardinals on Thursday? How much rush does a color rush if a color rush could rush? Yes! All these answers and more just around the corner. But first, another fine edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. Coming up next!
Clever girl. Hey, this is Matt from merry old England, and I am the current reigning halftime trivia champion. Why not play along at home and leave a comment on our Facebook page to let us know if you beat me this week. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go and polish my trophies.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to another wonderful edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia
Of the world!
The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves, Will, Matt, and Dustin. And here are the rules. So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-man Fan Jam Show trivia champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. All right, gentlemen, you know the rules. You can ask the kids once during the first 2 rounds only. The topic is the Redskins and the Cardinals and a little bit of hodgepodge in there thrown in for fun, just to be silly. So, we're going to start with our champ from last week, which was, of course, Matt. Matt, 1, 2, or 3?
I'll go 2, please.
Matt goes with 2. Dustin, 1 or 3?
3.
And then will lead us off here. Will, you ready?
Actually, can I do number 4 since Mark was supposed to be here?
He could.
You could. You could. You're
I'll
a good
take
kid.
I'll
but
take
no.
number 1. It's all good.
All right, thank you. You actually have a football question, so you should be thankful.
That's 3 straight. Wow, I don't know what to do with myself.
Football question is this. The last time the Seahawks played the Redskins in Seattle, how many interceptions did Rex Grossman throw? Remember Rex Grossman? Rex Grossman was just amazing. Last time, how many interceptions did Rex Grossman throw against the Seahawks? 1, 2, or 3? Dance!
Oh, I'm gonna have a hard time remembering. It was the day after a Judas Priest concert. So, I know Sherman got at least one.
Okay.
Didn't the Redskins win that game?
Yeah, we lost that game.
Yeah.
And I hate the
Yeah, like a
Redskins.
last-minute touchdown or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2.
He's got 2. Little Mo said 2. Mosette said 3. You said 2. Yep. It was 2. And Will is on the board. Congratulations, Will.
Takes 2, baby.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. That's all right. Hey, Matt.
Yes.
The last time the Seahawks played the Redskins in the playoffs in Seattle. Playoffs? In Seattle?
Playoffs?
Who had the most receiving yards for the Seahawks in that game? Was it Nate Burleson, Bobby Ingram, or DJ Hackett? There's some blasts from the past from you. Nate Burleson,
Yeah.
Bobby Ingram, or DJ Hackett? Who had the most receiving yards for the Seahawks the last time they played the Redskins in the playoffs in Seattle?
Oh, let me ask the kids.
Ask the kids. Well, Little Mo said Nate Burleson, but first he said, that guy on NFL Network? I said yes.
Yeah,
And
him. I
Mosette
like
said
him.
DJ Hackett. I think she just liked the name DJ, so I don't know if there's any real credit to either one of those.
She's a big Full House fan.
Yeah, apparently. Deej.
Who was the others?
How
What were the-
rude.
what were the other peeps?
Bobby Ingram was the one they did not pick.
I'll go with Bobby Ingram.
He'll go with Bobby Ingram.
Because I don't trust your kids.
After I told him why the kids pick what they pick, I shouldn't do that because it's probably not helpful. You said Bobby Ingram. No,
No.
it was DJ Hackett. 100
Was
yards
it?
receiving. What a
Well,
one.
good for him. Good for him.
DJ Hackett ain't nothing to F
Yeah.
with.
Burleson 64, Ingram 57. Dustin.
Yeah.
In what city did the Washington Redskins originally play? Their franchise
Moscow.
started in what city? Boston, Brooklyn, or New York City?
Not Moscow then.
Not Moscow. No. The Washington Redskins started in
That was a
Boston,
recent
Brooklyn,
development.
or New York City. I see what you did there.
All right. What was the New York City, Boston, or where?
Brooklyn.
Man, I don't know. I'll say Boston.
Man, I don't know.
Whichever's closest. I think Boston's closest.
I
I have no idea. I have no clue.
Geography. Mosette said Boston. Lil Mo said Brooklyn. You said Boston. Yeah, you got it. It's Boston.
Clever girl.
Boston Braves.
All right. Will and Dustin have a point. Matt, well, better luck this time. All right. Will, 4, 5, or 6?
6.
Will takes 6. Dustin,
Sure. I was totally gonna take 6. I'm gonna go 5.
and Matt
Whatever's
takes
left.
4. All right, here we go.
What college? Go on
What
then.
college didn't know. However, your question is not a football question.
Oh.
I want to know who is the only U.S. president buried in Washington, D.C. The only president buried in Washington, D.C. is it Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, or Woodrow Wilson? The only president buried in Washington, D.C.
Well, Lincoln's got a big old memorial, hasn't he? But I would have thought they'd have buried him in Gettysburg. or
Yeah, it's
something.
actually he's buried under that chair, so Lincoln is sitting on top of Lincoln.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you're going with Lincoln?
No.
Oh, okay.
What were the other? What were the
Lincoln,
other two white slave
Washington, or
owners?
Wilson? Abraham Lincoln,
Oh.
George Washington, Woodrow Wilson.
Did they all have slaves?
No, Wilson was
Uh,
early 20th century. He got us into
Yes.
World War One.
So
Yes.
you almost did then. So I'll go with that one, the 20th century one, because
You
I
go
reckon
with
the
the
other
weird
ones
one?
were buried somewhere else, because we burnt the whole place down at one point, didn't we?
Yeah, you kind of took that revolution thing a little personally in
You did.
1812.
You
Oh,
did.
yeah. Why?
When was Arlington National Cemetery established?
Oh my God.
After the
I'm
Civil
just saying-
War.
I'm just saying, if you're a veteran, you could be buried there.
Now
You
that's
said
Robert E.
JFK
Rosen's dad,
buried
so.
there.
Mosette said Woodrow Wilson. You said Woodrow Wilson. Little Mo said George Washington. Yeah, Woodrow
Oh.
Wilson.
No idea.
Matt, you're on the board. Congratulations.
Woohoo.
All right.
I'm guessing he was in the military. Just saying.
I'm guessing too. Dustin.
Mhm.
Yours is a football question. The last time the Seahawks played the Cardinals in Arizona, that wonderful 6-6 game that we all just loved. How many times
last year, right?
Yeah. How many times did Carson Palmer get sacked? 2, 3, or 4?
I'll say 4. That sounds great.
I'll say 4.
Yeah.
It was a defensive battle, wasn't it? Mosette said 3. Little Mo said 4. You said 4. Yes!
All right.
Justin takes the lead, and now it comes down to Will. Will, your question is not a football question. It's about the state of Arizona. The state of Arizona leads the nation in producing what? Copper, gold, or zinc? Notice jerks are not on there, but that's another story.
Retirement homes.
Yeah, the Arizona leads nation in producing what? Copper, gold, or zinc?
Well, I'm not going to ask the kids because I don't think they have a damn clue either.
They don't have a clue on any of these. Why would you even, you know?
I'm going to go with zinc.
Zinc. Das ist zinc. He goes, this is zinc. Little Mo said gold. And Mosette said zinc. You said zinc. Das ist wrong. It was
That German?
Copper. I don't know what
It was.
that was.
It was.
Copper.
Das ist dies.
Hey.
Copper.
You know what time it is, guys?
Peanut butter jelly time?
It's time for the final question. All right, here's how the final question works. Closest, it's a number. Closest to the number without going over gets the 2 points and is dubbed champion of this episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. All right.
Also of the world. Yeah.
And also of the world.
Also
The
of
order
the world.
that we will go is Will, Matt, and Dustin. Okay? If not,
Okay.
tough. I don't care. I said okay, but I really didn't want to. I said, hey, real quick, I had a kid today in my class say, hey, Mr. K, can I tell you something? And I literally looked at him and I said, if I said no, are you going to tell me anyway? And he looked at me. He goes, what? I said, if I say no, you're going to tell me anyway, aren't you? He goes, yeah. I said, then why am I even answering this question? And he told me. Went right over his head. He had no idea. All right.
You would have said, well, you're not. You're deflecting. So.
All right, here's your question. Will, Matt, and Dustin. Start with Will. Last time the Seahawks beat the Redskins in the playoffs. Playoffs? What was the quarterback rating of Russell Wilson in that game? The quarterback rating of Russell Wilson last time the Seahawks beat the Redskins in the playoffs.
I'm going to go with 126.1.
126.1. Matt.
I'm going to go, I don't know, 82.
82.
I think I had a shit game.
Dustin.
I got like a wide range. I'll say 100 even.
Don't say 100 even. Nobody priced is right, anybody.
Who knows?
82, 100. 126.1. Rookie year, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah. Rookie year. And the quarterback rating for Russell Wilson in that playoff game against the Redskins was 92.9. He has regained the crown.
Oh! I thought Dustin had it.
Nice.
I went over.
I went over.
Woohoo!
You're the closest to
Nice.
going over, Matt. Congratulations.
Got all that trophy now. I want a big one with a big marble base.
Congratulations on ordering another trophy, Matt.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, 2 in a row. We got to break them up, guys. This has been another crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia
Oh, the world.
of the world. We'll be back with the second half of the show right after this. Sex Pistols take us out.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Go to a store, buy a hat, and get ready to hold the onto it. We're not kidding.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Welcome to the third quarter of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Hey, you!
Me?
Yeah, you! Recouping from that game last Sunday. Like or comment on the video. Join us on Facebook at the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. Email us. Tweet us at Seahawk Positivity. Make us all part of your Seahawk fix. Do it now before they put more time on the clock and the Texans get the ball. Okay. Let's talk about the Thursday game at the Cardinals. I know it's hard to do because we haven't played the Redskins, and we never like to look more than one game ahead. However, since we only record on Friday evenings, we have 2 games between now and next Friday. So we're going to put the over-under at 42.5. I don't know, just because. And, let's say the Seahawks are a touchdown favorite. I'm just guessing. Some key injuries in that game from the Cardinals that we know before. They'll be missing Carson Palmer. And, of course, they'll be missing their Johnson, their running back. And there's some other changes. Calais Campbell will not be there. Will, how is this going to affect the Cardinals when we play them?
Well, it's going to affect their offense for sure because, Carson Palmer, he's pretty much on his last legs, but still has the ability to sling the football pretty well. And David Johnson was arguably, going into this season, one of the most dangerous weapons in the NFL.
Yes.
Defensively, it's interesting because they still have, they don't have Calais Campbell, but they still have Marcus Golden. They still have Patrick Peterson and Budda Baker in the secondary. But it's just not really working for them on defense either. So, the Cardinals, it's a divisional game. We're going to be beat up and playing on a short week, so it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a bit of a grind. But as far as the season goes, last year they were coming off an NFC Championship appearance and looking to repeat as division champs. This year, stick a fork in them. They're going to put up a fight, and it's going to be a tough game, but this is not a team that's going anywhere.
Very true. Matt, what do you see this game on Thursday? It's hard to look forward, but...
Well, I can't tell you what the weather's going to be like.
They're in a dome. It'll be 72 degrees.
It doesn't matter. Well, I think that it's a divisional game. It's going to be still important to us. You mustn't overlook them. And I think this is one of the things that if we've got to, we don't want to become that sort of complacent team that just thinks, well, because they got wiped out by the Rams in London a week back or whenever it was, a couple of weeks back, that that's going to be necessarily what we face. Any given Sunday, or in this case, any given Thursday, something could happen. But I don't think they, as Will says, they're not the same team. Going on the back of that London performance against the Rams, which was just awful. Talk about the worst possible advert for the NFL in that was just a hideous game. So I think
even the Browns weren't that bad.
I know. If you want to know what to wear for this Thursday night game, I would dress up as sort of British Tower of London beefeaters, because apparently that really upsets the Cardinals and they don't play very well. Optional bad teeth. I would do that too.
I don't think I've ever dressed as a beefeater. I wouldn't even know where to start with that.
Well, Google it.
Like Lady Gaga when she wore her meat dress. Is that
Google it with the save filter on though? Because that just sounds bad.
How can you not know? As a pork eater, it's the very different things. But if you look for, you dress up or as one of the the guards with the black bearskin caps on and the red coat, something like that, something British, or as come dressed as me, fashionable, gorgeous.
Well, that's funny because there is a picture of you in a Cardinals shirt from you losing a bet last year.
Yes, well, she's actually leaving. I have to say, I should make a little shout out. Really, I know it's a bit we normally do those at the beginning of the show, but I should give a little shout out to Melissa because she is the Cardinals fan that I work with. She's actually leaving us. She's going to get a new job, so she's on her way off. So good luck with your new job, hon, and get a new team. Would be my
amen
my
to
suggestion.
that. Dustin, your thoughts on the game after this game, the Cardinal game on Thursday night?
Well. Yeah.
Okay. Good enough.
No, I don't know. It's Carson Palmer's gone. Will's right. They're done. I'm sure it's a divisional game, so there's going to be a certain amount of competitive nature to it, but I don't think that's going to last the entire game. It might not last first half, in all honesty. They have some talent, but it just seems like they just don't know how to use it right now for some reason, which is weird. Because there's not huge turnover on that coaching staff. Things are just not working for that team. Offensively, they still have Adrian Peterson. They still have Larry Fitzgerald. I think Larry's like 80 in NFL years, but he's still actually out there doing things and making plays. So, but yeah,
well, you know what I hope You know what I hope?
That
I hope that Stanton gets benched because you know who their backup is.
I've heard.
I
I believe it's Blaine Gabbard.
Blaine? His name is Blaine? Oh, that's a major appliance. That's not a name.
Duck you, everybody. No, you missed that. We know you do.
Yeah, but
hey, so Dustin, the Seahawks win this game in Arizona if what?
I mean, I'm at a loss for coming up with the reason why they wouldn't. So,
okay.
I'm gonna say as long as like the people show up to turn the power on,
okay,
the Seahawks are gonna win the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Matt, the Seahawks win this game in Arizona
if we don't overlook them. If
Yeah.
we don't just think that we're just going to walk in there and breeze, and they may want to put up a bit of a pride fight.
Yeah.
So
like I just did.
Yeah. Clever girl.
Well, and that's just the thing. We've been that team. We've had that team that this is their playoff game. It's national spotlight on you. It's home. It's Thursday night. They're going to be really probably psychologically up for this game and hoping to knock us out of the playoff run for our division. Will the Seahawks win this game in Arizona if
they can make the turnaround on the short week and come out firing?
Yeah, I think they have to put their foot down right from the start. I agree with you. There's just not a lot to talk about the Cardinals game. It's hard to do a Cardinals wrap-up about the Cardinals when we haven't even finished playing the Redskins. We don't know what that's going to look like. We hope that's a win going into a win. It would really be nice to be 7-2 with a week and a half off, looking at that Monday Night Football game against Atlanta with a little less pressure on our team. But we'll see. We also have to keep our eye on the Rams. I know you guys talked a little bit about that. Matt, they seem to be for real a little bit, don't they? The Rams?
They are. I mean, they are. They're the competition in the division. They're for real. They've got young, ambitious coaches. They've got, a bit of drive behind them, and that's good for us. I'm quite pleased to have somebody in our division that's going to be able to push us because I think we need it. I think that's what keeps us on our toes and keeps us honest and keeps us good. So bring it on, is what I say.
And they're playing the Giants this weekend, so they'll be 6-2.
Yeah, they will. And but we can. I think they're going to fade just enough to let us win. We're going to win the division, I think, before all is said and done. But we'll see. All right, so that's our Cardinal recap. There's not much of a recap there, but again, it's hard to do a game within a game. So we will go ahead and end the third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up next, it's a double dip of prediction, prognostications, and game balls. You are listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, reminding you once again, for a transcript of our show, please take out a piece of paper and a pencil and write down everything we say. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Nobody cares.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Oh, yes, it's time for the fourth and final quarter of this double episode of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Twice the show, half the calories. Okay. Let's go to the Redskins predictions. Let's start with Team 12. Little Mo says 38-14. Freeney will get a sack and game ball to Paul Richardson. Jose says game ball for the Redskins goes to Wilson. Score 27-16. That's me being nice to the Redskins. Prognostication. We get more running yards than the team from Washington. I'm tired of using their name. All right. Tom says 35-14. Seahawks. Graham, 100 yards receiving. Game ball to Graham. You like that pick, don't you, Matt? You like that pick, Matt?
I love that pick.
If
it comes off, I love it.
Kurt, what do you think of that pick, buddy?
You like that? You like that?
Yeah, you like that. Mike says Seahawks win 27-20. Seahawks prognostication over 100 yards rushing, game ball to Jimmy Graham. Mark Ty Turner says Seahawks 27-10, game ball to Dwayne Brown just for showing up. And Eddie Lacy will run more than 50 yards. All right. Statsman Mark could not be with us this evening, so he said 31-20. This is Team Posse, 31-20. Wilson, 400 yards passing. He's given the game ball to Wilson. Matt!
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
You got to watch the Redskins score for me?
Have I got what?
Washington Redskins, Seattle Seahawks score.
Oh, I do. Yes.
There's a game Sunday. Are you aware of that?
I am. Yes.
Okay.
The first thing I was going to say though is just to let all the listeners just remind them there is a Facebook game thread for us at the 12 Man Fan Jam Show.
Yes.
So do make sure you come along on the Sunday, join in. You'll get to chat with us directly and get to see Dennis lose faith by the third quarter.
It's awesome. Yes. I just put it all out there. I'm
just
not
put
afraid.
it all out there.
Yeah.
By the way, how did you think Ifedi? What sort of game did Ifedi have this last Sunday? Were you happy with that?
I have to practice this weekend.
Like that?
65. Okay. I made another list. I made another list on the game day thread of things that could block better than Ifedi, and I had like air, a revolving door,
my grandmother,
me, my dead grandmother.
Also, the other thing I want to say to everyone is if you get the chance, do go and have a look at RG3's Twitter feed, because if you want to see bitter in a real visceral way, go and have a look at RG3's Twitter feed, because it's just a Mike Shanahan hate fest. I love it.
Nice.
Anyway,
I've got to do that. RG3, I've got to look up that. That sounds like fun.
I think my game ball, I think, is going to go to Cam Chancellor. I think it's been a really. I don't know why. I feel like he's been a bit quiet of late, a little bit under the radar. We've had Sherm and Griffin and the rest of them have all been really, out there making plays for himself. And Chancellor seems to me a little bit under the radar. But I think he's going to have a monster game. So I'll give it to Cam, and I think we get 3 picks.
And what was your score?
31-14.
31-14. All right.
To the good guys.
All right. I like it. Dustin?
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Can you tell him what a magician your wife is real quick? Just say that, when she threw a ball at you and you had a drink.
She can make any wand bigger. No.
Wow. All right, so so what had happened was last night my kid and my wife were sitting in my living room, and they're throwing a tennis ball across the room, kind of playing keep away from our dog. And I went over to make a drink on the far side of our island that we have in the middle of our kitchen. And my kid winged the ball too hard, and my wife was getting on him like, hey, you can't throw the ball that hard. No way I can catch it. So I made a little joke poking at her. I was like, hey, Zachary, your mom is a girl. She cannot catch the ball if you throw it that hard.
Oh.
Yeah, which backfired because the next time she got the ball, she turned and she threw it at me. Now, it hit the edge of the island. I thought it went down. What I didn't realize is that the ball went up in the air, out of my line of sight, and as I was standing there, the tennis ball landed in the cup of the drink I just made.
Yes!
Yeah. Ta-da! Which, instant karma. And
the crowd went wild.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, her and my son were laughing so hard.
And she's doing 2 shows starting Saturday. All right.
Did you down the drink? That is the rules of that game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it is. Yeah. You made it in the cup. You got a drink.
Pong ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was crazy, and it all was caught on our security camera. So I actually put it on Facebook. I can put it in
the 12 Man Fan Jam Show page.
Yeah.
Because we
I'll
want to
do
see
that.
that. Yes, please. Yeah. And meanwhile, let's hear your picks. Sorry.
Oh, no worries, man. That's a fun story.
Yeah.
So I think the Seahawks defense is going to come out fired up this weekend, and they're going to try and get their league average down for points scored against. So I'm going to say they're going to allow 3 points this week against the Redskins, and the offense is going to keep on pace from last week, and they're going to score 35 points.
35-3. Okay.
Yep. My prognostication, I'm moving from Richard Sherman since he did his job. Now we're looking at you, Shaq. He gets an interception. It'll be that until it happens.
All right.
Game ball is going to go to, I'm going to say Eddie Lacy, because that's how much Bo's going to help out the running game.
Look at you.
Fingers crossed.
Look at you.
Cool.
Nice.
Fingers crossed.
This is a positivity channel for a reason.
It is.
Let me tell you.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
No hatred this week.
You haven't seen nothing yet, man.
Yeah. No bitterness.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Will? And now we segue to Will. Will, you have a score for us?
I feel left out, though. I don't have an announcement or a cool story like that, so I just got to get right onto the pick. So, anyway.
How's your cat?
Oh, cat's fine. She's sitting here on the back of the couch staring at me like normal.
Right. That's good.
But my prediction for the score is, I think Mark also got this one, 27-10. with us winning.
Yeah.
My game ball goes to Frank Clark. And I'm going with the most audacious prognostication of the year.
Oh, dear.
CJ Prosise actually plays.
No.
And gets at least 50 yards from scrimmage.
No.
Not including a stretcher.
Even with the injury?
Wow.
He's going to
That's a big
play.
one.
He's going to get 50 scrimmage yards. Go big or
50
go
scrimmage
home.
All right, nice. I love it.
I'll go
All
big,
right.
he'll go home. But anyway.
He'll probably go home.
Yeah.
So the Redskins are hobbling in the Pacific Northwest after an emotional loss to their rival, of course, the Cowboys. Meanwhile, the Seahawks are staying home after a crazy emotional win over the Texans. And we could hear every Seahawk fan saying to everybody, "You like that? You like that?" Yes, we did. We really liked that game. Watch the Seahawk defense cause 3 turnovers. That's my prognostication. Watch my game ball Tyler Lockett run past the Redskins, and watch the Seahawks like this as they win by a score of Seattle Seahawks 31, Washington Redskins 17. All right, now Thursday night game. We have to do a Thursday night game against the Arizona Cardinals. Let's start with Team 12, of course. Little Mo, 42-10 Seahawks. Seahawks will get 2 interceptions. Game ball to Bobby Wagner. Jose, Cardinals, I see a defensive battle because they play us hard every effing year, but they have no quarterback, no offensive line, no run game, no defense, but they'll step up because they play us hard. I say 16-6. Game ball to Wagner with a sack, and the most tackles in my prognostication. We see our old friend Blaine in the game for the Cardinals.
Whew.
So, and I think he's going to that game as well. So, if you are
Does
going,
Jose have a question for us this week as well? We can do that. At the
he
end.
did. Well, yeah. His question was about. We kind of answered it in the Houston part. It was about how do you feel after the win in Houston. So, we kind of covered that. I didn't quite.
I was furious.
Yeah.
I was so
Mildly
mad.
indifferent.
It was pretty crazy. And I just when we scored that touchdown, that's what he asked. And I said to Little Mo, I'm not saying a word till 21 seconds are off the clock because.
Because you'd said it already in Facebook, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had images of the Falcons again in my head, but
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, Tom's picks 45-6 Seattle. I was in Arizona. Stanton sacked 4 or more times. Game ball to Wagner. Mike Pascal 2017 Seattle. Seattle at least 2 interceptions. Game ball to Earl. Mark Ty Turner 31-0 shutout. He said game ball to defense. If they shut out the Cardinals, I'll give the game ball to the defense because they kind of deserve it. Russ has 4 touchdown passes, and now we go to Team Posse. Statsman Mark, who's not here, said 35-16. Paul Richardson with 100 yards receiving, and he's given his game ball to Paul Richardson. Matt, what's your prediction for the Cardinal game? Hello.
My score I would do is Seahawks 27, Cardinals 9.
Okay.
A lot of field goals for them. Game ball. It's always difficult to do game balls when you've got to think of a game because you don't know who's going to be injured. Hopefully nobody. But I'll go with Russell Wilson because it's the easiest.
Okay. In prognostication?
Russell will throw for 370 yards.
That's pretty specific.
Yep. What do you? That's a
If he
prognostication.
gets it, if it's over 2. Dustin.
Yeah.
What you got?
All right, so I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that Jack is going to get that interception this weekend.
Okay. Good call.
So assuming he does that, my next prognostication is I'm moving on to you, Cam. And Cam, you will have an interception in this game.
Are you
That's
a
so
defensive
awesome.
coordinator? Are you a coach?
I
Are you
love
coaching
this.
them? Is this how it works?
Yeah, this is
I
how this
love
works.
this.
Yeah. So, all right. So the score, they're still working on that, getting that average down. The Seahawks are going to allow 6 points this game. And the offense is going to keep flying, but not as high because Cardinals they play us pretty well usually. I'll say the Seahawks are going to score 28 points that game.
All right. Who's your game ball? Chancellor?
Yeah, we'll go Chancellor. I'm not going to go Lacey twice. I really want to see how that plays out.
Why not? Good call. Will?
Well, my prognostication, since I do believe he's going to be playing, I'm going to say Bradley McDougald gets not 1 but 2 interceptions in this game.
Ooh-wee.
And I'll give him my game ball. And because this season as a whole has been so bizarre, I'm going to say we tie again. 16-16.
Are you serious
Because
right now?
why the hell
That's
not?
hysterical. That is amazing. I almost did that, but I didn't. All right. 16-16 tie. Awesome. Okay. If that happens, dude, I am flying out to Seattle and punching you in the throat. I'm just telling you that right now.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, my turn. Last time the Seahawks played in Arizona, it was one of the most difficult games to watch. Two teams whose offenses looked like they were in slow motion. Two kickers who just didn't want to be the hero. The result, a painful late-night 6-6 tie. Not this time! Watch the Seahawks get 4 sacks by prognostication. Watch my game ball Doug Baldwin set the Arizona desert on fire, or far, if you're from where I'm at. And watch the Seahawks win by a score of Seattle Seahawks 34, Arizona Cardinals 13. Wow. That was a loaded 12-man Fan Jam show.
And
What was
we
your
were
Seahawks
loaded
score?
too.
I know I was.
What did you say, Matt?
What was your score for the Seahawks on that Cardinal game?
34-13.
13. Wow.
Yeah, that's what she said. Hey.
Not to you.
No. Let's bring another wonderful and amazing 12-man Fan Jam show double episode to a close. We're glad you decided to waste some time with us. We certainly hope you laughed a little and maybe you learned a little something. What did we learn on this show? Well, really, there's only one thing we learned on this show, and that is clever girl, all in. We're going at it even harder.
Still juvenile.
Still
juvenile.
And Matt
We
lives
are
in
12.
We also
Yeah.
learned that Matt lives in sunny England, whatever the hell that exists. I don't even
It's
know.
snowing, it's snowing, isn't it, in Seattle right now?
It is. It is.
Yeah. We had some snow today.
Oh, and we also learned that Britt has been all over the line. He's seen some things, man.
Yeah, he's seen
All
some
right.
things.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean Justin Twit?
Justin. Yeah.
Yeah.
I called him Justin Twit. There you go. Along
Just don't say it to his face.
Bruce Turbin, or whatever the hell I did there. On behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, our new sound Shadowhawk, Will, Statsman Mark, wherever he is, and Dustin as a Beaver, Roger Goodell, Mosette Little Mo, Daryl Green, Neil Lomax, Sheila McRae, Art Carney. Good night, everybody, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks!
All in. What the heck?